So, the Fast and Furious spin-off movie Hobbs and Shaw just came out. I haven't seen it yet, but I have been taking the opportunity to rewatch one of my all-time favorite franchises. Today I want to talk about an issue that's been on my mind for a while, namely, whether or not that baby in The Fate of the Furious breaks the whole timeline of the series. Spoilers up ahead for, well, really all the Fast and Furious films, but specifically a big twist that's dropped in the 8th installment, The Fate of the Furious, which I think they thought was a pun or something. But anyways, the movie came out like 2 years ago, but if you still haven't seen it, here's your chance to bail out. 3, 2, 1. Okay. In Fate, Charlize Theron blackmails Dominic Toretto into doing her evil bidding by kidnapping his ex-girlfriend Elena. When Dom finally gets a chance to catch up with Elena on Charlize Theron's sweet airplane, Elena reveals that she has a baby with her, who is in fact the secret son that she never told Dom about.
When I realized I was pregnant, you had just found out Lady was alive. So I decided when Lady and you got back from your honeymoon, I was going to tell you. And then she took us before I had the chance.
Now, I'm all for soap opera-esque twists in the Fast and Furious franchise, but this particular surprise reveal creates a bit of a headache. Specifically, the implication is that the Fast movies 6, 7, and 8 must have all taken place within a relatively short time frame, which creates some potential continuity issues. Let's back up a bit. If you don't remember, Elena was Dom's Brazilian love interest in Fast 5 after Dom's one true love, Letty, had died in the 4th movie, confusingly titled Fast and Furious. By the beginning of Fast and Furious 6, Dom and Elena are living together happily in the Canary Islands until Dom finds out that Letty is actually still alive and just has a case of movie amnesia. Elena takes all this super well.
That was my husband. But there was a chance, no matter how small. I would go.
And at the end of the movie, her and Dom seem to break up amicably, and Dom gets back together with Letty. It's nice that they brought Elena back to give some closure to this relationship, although I guess it sucks that Elena promptly gets shot in the face for her troubles. And then Dom is all like, hey Letty, I know we were talking at the beginning of the movie about whether we wanted kids, but now we're gonna raise my ex-girlfriend's kid. That's cool, right? Anyways, with the information we have, we can safely say that the latest point at which Dom could have gotten Elena pregnant is sometime during Fast and Furious 6. And now, in Fast 8, she's got this baby. Now, I'm not an expert on babies, but some internet research tells me that the baby who played this kid was 6 months old. That implies that even though Fast 6 and Fate were released about 4 years apart, a much smaller amount of time has passed in the world of the movies. Now that by itself isn't a problem. The timeline of the Fast and Furious movies has always been somewhat fluid, what with the 3rd movie, Tokyo Drift, being retroactively established as taking place between the 6th and 7th films. But when exactly is Elena supposed to have had this baby? Elena is briefly present in Furious 7, and she's not noticeably pregnant. And at least we hope she's not pregnant when this happens. So, are we to believe she had the baby between Fast 6 and 7 and just doesn't bother telling Dom? Okay, I guess that's plausible. They only really have one scene together and don't really get a chance to catch up. But here's where things get tricky. At the beginning of Fast and Furious 6, Brian and Mia also have a baby. And by the time of Furious 7, that son Jack is a full-blown toddler who can talk.
All right. We made it, Jack.
Yeah, we made it!
Yeah, we made it.
Now, apparently the twins who played Jack would have been about 3 years old when this movie was filmed. Of course, one secret of Hollywood is that sometimes actors play roles younger than themselves. So maybe we can fudge a little bit here. Still, we see Brian drive Jack to preschool, and the internet tells me kids usually start talking around age 2. So Jack can't really be much younger than that. Now, some time does presumably pass between the prologue of Fast 6 and the main action of the movie, so it's likely that baby Jack is at least a few months old by the end of Fast 6. This all gives us an idea of the amount of time that must have passed between Fast 6 and 7. So what about between Furious 7 and Fate of the Furious? For that one, it's actually a little bit easier to buy that only a very short amount of time has passed between movies. At the end of Furious 7, Letty regains her memory and learns that her and Dom were secretly married back during Fast and Furious 4. Fate of the Furious then picks up with them on their honeymoon in Cuba, so it makes sense that we're picking up shortly after the events of Furious 7. Does that mean days or weeks or months? That answer could be crucial to our baby math. Okay, let's solve this math puzzle then. The 6-month-old baby playing Elena's baby could be playing a slightly older baby. Meanwhile, if we really stretch things, Brian and Mia's baby could maybe be 6 months old by the end of Fast 6. That means Jack is about 15 months older than Elena's baby. So if Jack is 2 and no younger in Fast 7, then Elena must have a 9-month-old baby at the time that she's just not telling any of the other characters about. Therefore, assuming Fast 8 indeed takes place right on the heels of Furious 7, Elena's baby could be about 9 or 10 months old when we meet him on the airplane. That means that between Fast 6, 7, and 8, it's been one hell of a rough 18 months or so for the Fast and Furious family. The time crunch really makes it even more unforgivable that everybody just forgives Shaw for killing Han, but whatever. Well, okay, I mean, I guess we solved it. It's all fine, and that baby doesn't tear a hole in the Fast and Furious timeline. Honestly, I was expecting to do a lot more ranting here about what a huge continuity goof this was for the franchise, but I guess I was stupid to ever doubt producer Vin Diesel. What do you know? It still doesn't make sense that they name him Brian at the end. I mean, if anything, they should name him Han, or I don't know, maybe something honoring his dead mother, but that's a subject for another video.